Hello, you're watching Sightline on MNB World, an interview program that invites various guests for a conversation on important topics. And today our topic will be inclusive education, and we have invited a guest from Japan, notably Mrs. Fumi Matsumoto, Education Grant Manager of the Save the Children. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Yeah, of course. Nice to meet you. It's Fumi.
Thank you. Fumi Matsumoto is an international education and development professional from Japan who has been the Education Grant Project Manager for Save the Children in Mongolia since April 2021. She effectively manages diverse education projects, collaborates with stakeholders, and secures funds from various sources. Fumi's expertise encompasses project management, inclusive education, and adeptly building partnerships with governmental, non-governmental, UN entities, and academic organizations. Her previous roles include serving as the Asia-Pacific Regional Project Manager, overseeing the Child Protection in Emergencies Professional Development Program, and contributing to research on education barriers during her internship at the UNICEF Ghana Country Office. Fumi Matsumoto's multifaceted experience highlights her commitment to advancing international education and development initiatives. Let's start our interview from the project you are currently working on. And the project is called Promoting Inclusive Education in Primary and Secondary Education in Mongolia. Can you please share with us about the goals and introduce briefly about the project?
Okay. Our project started in 2018, and actually we had two projects during this over these 6 years. And the first one was promoting inclusive education at the primary education level. And the second one, which we are currently working on, is about promoting inclusive education at the lower secondary level. And also it aims at ensuring a smooth transition of fifth graders with special needs from the primary grades to lower secondary grades.
We heard that the project was implemented in specific locations, including 3 districts of Ulaanbaatar city and 2 provinces. Can you share with us what were the reasons and factors behind choosing these specific areas for this project?
Yeah, we specifically targeted Songina Hailhan, Chingelte, and Bayanzov district in Ulaanbaatar city. We selected these 3 districts because we wanted to first establish a model school in the Ulaanbaatar city, and we chose these 3 districts because they have more population. Also, they have peri-urban areas with more disadvantaged people. So that's why we thought the grave of issue should be bigger than other districts. And also, as you said, we have targeted Hobd and Burhangai provinces. We chose these 2 because they have more population than other IMACs, and also they have more poverty rate. Yeah, that's why we selected these areas.
You have just mentioned about the reasons and factors that triggered the selection process, and during the implementation process there might have been some social group, target groups that were the beneficiaries of this project. Can you elaborate on this part, please?
Okay. I think I should mention first children with special needs, and we mostly focused on children with disabilities because they tended to have less opportunities for equal opportunities in education, and also their parents, and also teachers who support children with special needs. And but I'm not saying this project was only for children with special needs and their parents, because inclusive education is not only for children with special needs. So we also involved children without special needs, and also their parents. And also we emphasized awareness raising for parents and also community people. Yeah.
Within the frame of this project, you have just mentioned like the beneficiary groups. Within the frame of this project, what were the roles of the community? For example, the role of teachers or the role of school children who study with those children, marginalized group of children, the role of their parents.
Okay. First of all, teachers' role would be ensuring every student's rights to run at school. And from our project's point of view, we have encouraged teachers to try to address each student's learning needs. Yeah, and also children. As for children without special needs, we have especially worked with the student councils in each school, and I think this is a kind of one of the biggest strengths in the Mongolian education system. Yeah, and students council have a lot of impacts on the school management and practices. So we trained representatives of student councils, and they actively worked on the topic of inclusive education, like awareness raising or peer support in the classroom. Yeah, and lastly, as for parents, I believe their role is to support children's education at home, and also support children's physical and mental health. Yeah, and when children enters primary and lower secondary grades, maybe many parents would feel, okay, now our children
are big enough.
It's big enough, and so maybe schools will teach everything they need. Yeah, so they may not pay too much attention to their children compared to early childhood. But as you can imagine, at school, a teacher is taking care of 30, 40, or even more students.
Children, like a lot of load on one teacher.
So, of course, teachers are making the best effort to handle everything of learning needs, and maybe try to handle children's every single tiny issue. But they are not perfect or like the God. So I believe parents should still pay enough attention to children at home, and when they identify any issues, they can try to help children handle the issues. And if it's really not manageable at the family side, sometimes they may have to work with schools constructively.
You have just mentioned that you have worked with the parents to promote the inclusivity in education, and it's really interesting to know what kind of methods were used, and how did you, during the project team made understand the parents that their role in the education is also important, like the teacher's role.
Yeah, we utilized the scheme of parents' councils at all schools. And firstly, we trained trainers, and we selected trainers from teachers, and then we trained them how to collaborate with parents in ensuring the inclusive education and to help their support for children at home. Yeah. Then the teachers conducted a parents meeting at each school, and and we have further process, and the parents and the schools plan some activities, and it really depends on school, and depending on each school situation, teachers and the parents discuss what kind of events or meetings they need, and they conducted, and some of them were for awareness raising, and the other was more for events involving children as well.
Previously, we have mentioned that the project involves children from marginalized group as well as children with disabilities. And it's really interesting to know what kind of work were done, and in terms of promoting inclusivity of children with disabilities among the community.
As I mentioned in the previous question, we have conducted parents training and events involving parents. And in addition to that, we also conducted training for teachers and children. And the trained teachers also delivered their learning to their colleagues at school, and so they gradually understood how to teach children with disability at school. Yeah, and as for the student council students, as I mentioned, we have trained student council members, and they took a leadership about how to promote inclusive education, how can I say, from children's point of view. Yeah, so some student councils attempted something like supporting learning of children with some disability or some learning delays. Yeah.
You have mentioned that the project was implemented for already 6 years in the primary education and in the secondary education as well. And when the project was starting at the initiation, what kind of challenges did you find, did you observe that hinders the inclusivity in the Mongolian education system?
Okay. I think I would mention issues in teachers and parents, and first from teachers. Some teachers did accept children with disabilities or special needs at their school, but they really didn't know how to meet their individual needs because they didn't know how to do. And some of them ended up abandoning them in the classroom and just
letting them sit in the class.
So we have observed such issues. But and also for parents, I understand most parents didn't really understand what inclusive education is. And this leads to a misconception that children with disabilities should go to special schools. And also, some parents who have children with disabilities even thought, it's shameful, for them to send their children to mainstream schools. We observed such challenges.
Like they might face some bullying or ostracizing among kids or parents. The project was implemented for 6 years. I think there are a lot of beneficiaries from the project, and in average, how many people get benefited from the implementation of this project?
Okay, we have worked with 16 target schools in each project. One is for primary grades and the other for lower secondary grades. So we have reached all the teachers and the students in these 16 schools. And also I would like to mention social media campaign we have conducted for the last 6 years. Last year we reached like almost 3/4 of Mongolian citizens. I believe our inclusive education's messages were conveyed to quite many people in Mongolia.
The project was already implemented for 6 years. It will be concluding soon. And what kind of advice you will give for in the future to maintain the positive outcomes of this project? Maybe there are like good experiences in Japan that should be like introduced and adapted in Mongolia.
As you said, it's really beneficial. It's really crucial to make efforts to sustain the project outcomes rather than letting them disappear. So that's why we have claimed that Ministry of Education and Science and the General Agency for Education take a lead in sustaining and expanding our project outcomes. And as part of this effort, we have worked with them to establish a kind of inclusive education mentorship committee, and we are trying to establishing this committee and letting outstanding teacher trainers trained by our project mentor non-target schools. So through such effort, I believe we can Mongolia government will be able to sustain our project outcomes, and the mentors who I have just mentioned, I brought 9 of them, the really representative people, to Japan for a study tour to learn inclusive education practices in Japan. So I really hope they will belong to the mentorship committee and then expand their learning and experience throughout Mongolia.
So in other words, those mentor teachers will also like teach what they learn to other teachers in other non-target schools in Mongolia. Would you please mention like what kind of organization maybe from Mongolia or from Japan supported this project?
For Mongolian side, I think I firstly should mention target schools because they were like the main characters of our project.
Stakeholders.
And also Ministry of Education and Science and General Agency of Education. And we also worked with many kinds of stakeholders, including universities or institutions, and also other donors, which also implements inclusive education programs. Yeah, and as for Japan side, yeah, in the study tour I mentioned, yeah, local educational board of education accepted us and let Mongolian representative learn how they are facilitating inclusive education. And we also visited 3 schools, yeah, which have outstanding inclusive education practices. Yeah, and also, yeah, we got some expertise from university or some public institution related to education in Japan.
Well, thank you very much for providing information about your project.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next time with more stories and updates. Have a nice day.